This is Angela at beginninggenealogist.com. Today I want to conclude the last in a series of videos about the federal census. I'm going to cover the years 1840 going back to the very first census in 1790. There's a very interesting history actually about the census. I also learned that the United States was the first country to actually conduct a regular census of the population. Of course, the purpose was to determine two things in terms of how taxes would be applied, but also how many representatives each area that was counted would have in Congress. So shortly after the election of our first president, George Washington, approximately 650 U.S. Marshals went from household to household throughout the nation, unannounced in fact, knocking on doors, recording the names of individuals who were the heads of household, and counting the other residents that resided in the household. Anyway, it's an interesting history, and the documents themselves, of course, in those early years are just as valuable as those documents in later years. So let's take a look at those documents, let's examine them, and see what information can be gleaned from them.
One of the first things noted when studying the 1840 census is that wives and children are not listed by name. However, when a female is widowed and thereby the head of the household, her name will appear in that census year. The census records generally capture those who were free citizens, and the forms clearly indicate free white males, free white females, and free persons of color, male and female. The numbers, although not the names, of slaves are also captured in each household. Within each category are notations pertaining to age, with age ranges rather than the exact age being recorded. So, one sees the number of people who were under 5 years, those who were 5 years of age but under 10, those who were over 10 but under 15, and so on. Similar distinctions of age were also made for free persons of color and also for those who were enslaved. Instead of listing occupations individually, the industry in which the head of household worked was noted in a variety of categories. Rotating the form, these categories are noted: mining, agriculture, commerce, manufacture and trade, navigating the ocean, navigation of canals, lakes, or rivers, and those who worked as professional engineers. Of interest to many who have ancestors from territories that were the 13 original colonies are the notations that were made for those who were pensioners from the American Revolution. Physical disabilities were noted in both white and free people of color. Educational level was also recorded of all citizens, noting the number of persons in educational institutions and noting whether or not individuals could or could not read or write. In 1830, both free white male and female and free people of color are also noted. In many states, one will not find free people of color on the primary census page if there was no population of color living in that vicinity. If there were free persons of color in the area, then the notation was included. For the first several census years from 1790 through 1820, it is wise to have a blank census form handy to know exactly what each column represents. Occasionally, the only image that one will see will not always include the heading of a column. Again, as in 1830 and 40, information was enumerated on free whites as well as free persons of color. Also listed is information pertaining to those who were slaves as well. And unlike other years, information pertaining to citizens by profession and those who were naturalized citizens as well were captured. In 1800, citizens were also listed by heads of household, but note that the age ranges are wider than in subsequent years. Also note that only 13 states or territories are represented in the 1800 census. Schedules survive for only those areas. There are lost schedules, such as those for Georgia, Indiana Territory, Kentucky, Mississippi Territory, New Jersey, Northwest Territory, Virginia, Tennessee, and Alexandria County, District of Columbia as well. Some of the schedules for those states have been recreated by various individuals who've been using tax lists and other records to recreate those years. The very first census was taken in 1790. Enumerators were required to capture the following categories in the census: the name of head of household, the number of free white males and females, the number of other free persons, the number of slaves, the town or district, and sometimes the town or district of residence as well. The first United States Census does differ in format from other census years, and each enumerator was not provided with a pre-prepared form to complete. The enumerator was actually expected to make his own copies on whatever kind of paper or parchment that he could find. Unlike in later census years, in that first census year of 1790, an enumerator could arrange the records as he pleased. Therefore, it's important to take note, location to location, sometimes the census document itself has a different appearance. This has been basically an overview of those very early years from 1790 through 1840. Although you as a beginner won't necessarily jump right away into these early census years, you know that there are some interesting things that you will be able to look forward to as you begin to go farther and farther into your history.
So I hope that information has been useful. We have a very, very fascinating history with the census, and as you can see from year to year, different types of things were captured. But of course, it is important that we look at the census records for the stories that we can pull out of them, and from the many facts as we can see how the nation changed, how things that were important to the U.S. government also changed over the years. I hope this series has been helpful to you, and of course the most important thing is that we continue to work to collect as many documents as we can, including the census, to tell that family story. Anyway, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.